Whenever a new restaurant opens up, the Phantom Gourmet is gonna be there to check it out and let you know what to order. And there's a cool new place in Copley Square called Storyville, where the cocktails are handcrafted and the cuisine comes from one of Boston's best chefs. This is the story of a brand new Back Bay hotspot that's part restaurant, part nightclub, and part cocktail lounge. This is the story of Storyville. Named after a legendary Boston nightclub, Storyville seems to fall somewhere between a New Orleans jazz bar and a New England speakeasy. But the food is far from an afterthought, because Chef Louie Dibicarri is one of the hottest young stars on the Boston restaurant scene.
2 pasta, 1 flatbread, please.
Louie has worked his way through some of the city's best kitchens, and along the way, his improvisational underground dinners known as Chef Louie Nights developed a life of their own and an insane cult following. And now that he's settled into his new home here at Storyville, Louie's cooking is the real story. There's the confit stuffed duck breast with almonds and orange, fresh tagliatelle pasta with homemade ricotta, perfectly cooked steak Wellington, and sauteed Maine lobster in a rich short rib broth. Plus, he serves some of the tastiest fries in Greater Boston.
The pommes frites are tossed with Parmesan cheese and fresh herbs and served with a black truffle aioli.
Along with dinner, there's a full list of creative and classic cocktails, and after dinner, the cookie plate is a story all to its own.
Our half-baked chocolate chip cookies, crisp all around the edges and kind of raw and gooey on the inside. You guys love the word gooey, right?
And joining us now is the head chef at Storyville and fellow Linfield Pioneer class of '93. What? Louie Dibicarri. What's going on, Louie? Welcome.
Danny, good to be back. Always a pleasure. What's happening?
I want to talk about the Storyville menu. This is your new baby. It's a new restaurant. So let's start with meatballs, okay? Now, I know you. You grew up in an Italian family. You've been making meatballs your entire life, but now you have this cool new restaurant. So yes, you want to do meatballs, but you're going to like kind of kick it up a little bit. So explain the meatballs.
Danny, meatballs started when I was like 5.
Okay, exactly.
Okay? That's when my mother started making me produce meatballs, which I don't know. I have to look it up, but I'm pretty sure there are child labor laws in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts that say this is not okay to do.
But it worked out okay.
It's worked out great. I mean, I was making meatballs before I was riding bicycles. You know what I mean? It's awesome, ridiculous and awesome. But the meatballs at Storyville are equal parts love and Plainville Farm beef right from Maine. It's all about sourcing at Storyville. That's what we do best.
Right, and so the beef is delicious. I mean, you take a bite into this, what are the kind of spices? What are you going to experience here?
Za'atar, herbs, Parmesan cheese, nice crispy crust, a little medium rare in the middle. It's almost like eating the smallest burger of all time.
Now you're talking my language. I love it. Okay, now let's go through some of the other items on the menu. We both grew up on the North Shore. Fried clams are, plentiful on the North Shore. You pick them off trees pretty much. But you're doing fried oysters. Now explain the difference, what the different experience is, because they're still really tasty, but a little different than a fried clam.
They're plump, better belly on them. It's kind of like fried oysters decided to throw a party, invited all their friends, from high school, pickled red jalapenos, our friends' baby tomatoes, and happens to be dating kimchi at the same time.
I see, yeah. So they kind of throw it all in. It's like a big prom party. It's beautiful. It really is.
Post-prom party.
Of course. Now, you're going to have lobster on the menu. You have a restaurant in Boston. You kind of have to serve lobster, but you're not doing it in the shell. You're doing a real cool, beautiful presentation, actually. Delicious dish. Explain this one.
Thanks. Okay, I like to call it lobster brilliance.
Lobster brilliance is a good way to call it.
Arrogant things I could possibly say right now.
No,
but I'm also...
Believe me, it's not nearly as arrogant as some of the chefs I've heard.
I'm a little ADD. I get really confused sometimes. I was like, I want short ribs. I want lobster. And then it was just like, just put it in the same plate.
Yeah.
So it's like lobster sauteed and then floating like this really beautiful, meaty, intense short rib nage with pine nuts and things like that. So it's a really tasty, smart casual is a term I'm using for some of the food now.
Yeah.
It's kind of obnoxious.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. I dive in, I put my fork in, I get lobster, I get short rib. What am I tasting? That's what I want to know.
Okay, you're tasting all these umami flavors, like soy, beef broth. You're getting a lot of herbs. You're getting a lot of really intense flavors with this natural, beautiful Maine lobster.
Now you're talking. Of course, you got to wash it down with some drinks. Now, the restaurant's one side, sort of nightclub's another part of the experience in Storyville, but the bar is really serious. What kind of drinks are you serving at this bar? It's awesome cocktail list.
Storyville is like, it's on par with some of the great craft cocktail bars in Boston. And Boston is on par with the great craft cocktail bars in the country.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is some of the best craft cocktails in the country at Storyville. And we got great bartenders, English Bill Codman and Bruno Prado. And we have an all-star team back there in both rooms, and they're kicking it.
Well, there it is. You can have your drinks to wash it down. You get your meatballs and taste all of Louie's deliciousness, because I'm telling you right now, I've known him a long time, but Louie really is one of the most talented chefs in the city of Boston. You can find Storyville at 90 Exeter Street in the Back Bay, online at storyvilleboston.com.